session we will be discussing insertion in linked list. In the previous sessions we have discussed about the basics of linked list, that what is linked list, why we need a linked list, and in the previous session we have discussed about creation and traversal of linked list. And in this session we will be focusing strictly on the topic insertion in the linked list. So insertion in the linked list can be done in the three ways. The first way is to do the insertion at the beginning. That is, this is our first node. If this is our linked list and this is the first node, this is the second node, and this is the third node of the linked list. If we want to insert any new node at the beginning, then it means that we need to insert that node at this first position, and this node will become to second position, and this node will come to the third position, and this node will come to the fourth position. The second part is insertion at the end. That is, we need to insert the node at the end of the linked list. That is here, after this last node you need to insert a new node. And the third is, we need to insert a new node at some specific position, and this can be done in two ways. The first way is when some position is given to you. It means that the linked list is given to you and they are asking you that you need to insert a new node, let's say a new node with data value 5 at the third position. Then it means that you need to insert the node here. That is, after the insertion the new node will be like 1, 2, 5 and then 3. So this is the insertion at the third position. And here it is also possible that they are providing you the node after which the insertion is to be done. That is, they are asking you that you need to insert a new node after this first node. Then they will be providing you the address of this node and you need to insert a new node after this. So if you are not able to understand them now, then don't worry, because we are going to focus on each and every part in detail now. So let us start. So before starting, let me just tell you about the structure of the node that we have discussed earlier, because we are going to use this structure in our code. So now, with the help of object-oriented programming, we have created our node, and this part of the node which was storing the data was named as data value, and this part of the node which is storing the address of the next member was named as next node. So this is the integer variable whose name is data value, and this is the pointer to store the address of the node, and the name of this pointer is next node. So let us start. Firstly, we will see the insertion at the beginning of the node, at the beginning of the linked list. So we will be writing the function for inserting a new node at the beginning of the linked list. So let us write that function. So the function will be void insert b. So the name of the function to insert a new node at the beginning of the linked list will be insert b, and I will be providing this function the head of the node as the parameter and the data of the node that need to be inserted. That is, let's say if this is our linked list, then I will be providing this head to my function and the data value 5 to my function so that this node can be inserted here. That is, if this is our linked list, then I will be providing this function, this head, and I will be providing the value that I want to insert at the beginning, that is 5, and after this call my linked list will be like this. So this would be head, here I will be having 5, let's say address of this node will be 70, so this will be like so this will be my linked list after this call. The second thing that you need to focus here is I am passing the head here by reference. That is, we all know that head is a pointer variable which is storing the address of the node. So it is like node star head. But here I want to pass this head by reference, not by value. Therefore, I am using this operator here. So now I am passing this head by reference here because I will be doing changes in this head in my code. So let me just show you what is the code for this. So here what I am going to do, let me just first write the code, then I will explain you the working of this code. So it is this is the code to insert any particular node at the beginning of the linked list. So now let us see that how each code line is working here. So now if you have watched my previous session, then you can easily understand that this code line is creating the node with the given data. Let's say here you have given the data is equal to 5. So this code line will work like node star to insert is equal to new node and data is equal to 5. Now we know that with this code line, as we have seen in the previous session, a new node will be created with the name to insert. So with the name to insert, a new node is created. And here the data value will be 5 and the pointer variable here will be storing null pointer by default. And now our linked list that I have was the address it was storing was, let's say, 80. It was the head pointer and my first node was 100 and so on was our linked list. So what is happening in this second line? Because we have understand that from the first line this node is created, and now from the second line what I am going to do is, so this is my to insert node. So in the to insert node, in the next node part, so this is the to insert node, this part is the data value, and this part is the next node pointer. So in the next node pointer part of to insert, I am just copying the address of this head pointer variable. So here the address 80 will be copied at place of null pointer. After this address is copied here, this node will start pointing to this. Now this was the working of this line. So if I will repeat myself, then with this help of code line, the next node pointer part of the to insert node is started pointing towards this first node, because here I have copied the address of the head node, which was 80. So now this is starting pointing toward this first node. Now what is the next step? Let us see. So in the next step, what we are going to do, in this head pointer variable, I am just storing the address of to insert node. Let's say the address of this to insert node is 70. So now at place of 80, I have stored the address 70. Now what happens with this? Since 80 is removed from here, this connection will be broken. And since we have put 70 here, this new link will be created. So now you can see that how our new linked list will look like. So it was head, and now it is pointing towards the to insert node, and after this to insert is pointing towards this node, which was earlier the first node, so it is 1, and after 1 you have 2, then 3, as we have seen here it was 1, 2 and 3. So now you can see that this is the first element, and now this is the second element, this is the third element, and this is the fourth element. So now I hope that you have understand the working of this. So let me just re-explain you with the help of the diagram. So the linked list that I have here was like this: had 80, it was 1, so it was 2, it was 3, so now this was the linked list that I have. So with the help of the first code line, I have created a new node with the given data. And now with the help of the second code line, I have just created the link between them. And now with the help of the third code line, I have just broke this link and create the link between them. And now these links are created by using the addresses, as I have told you and explained you earlier. So now I hope that this is clear to you. So now let us move on to the next part. So the next part is insertion at the end. So let me just mention the function which will be inserting the node at the end of the linked list. So it is void insert e, and also to this function we will be providing the head and the data that we want to insert. And now you must note here that here I am not doing pass by reference. Here I am just passing this head by value, because in my code I am not going to use this head. I am not going to make changes in this head. So I can just do pass by value or pass by reference. So both pass by value and pass by reference is possible here. You can do whatever you want. So now again I will be creating a new node. So let me just explain you before writing the code that what I am going to do here. So now till this code line we have just created the new node with the given data. So now what we need to do next is, first of all we will check the condition here that if head is equal to null or not. If head is equal to null, it means that this head is not pointing to any node. It means if head is equal to null, as we have seen, it means that this head is not pointing to any node. So there is no linked list, or I can say we have an empty linked list. So if here I want to add the element, I can just do head is equal to the new node. So here I am assigning the head the address of the new node that I have just created, because I know that this new node was the pointer, so it was storing the address of the new node. So here by assigning the new node to this head, I have just assigned the address of this new node to the head. So now after this head will be storing the address of the new node. So this is the new node with the given data, and now let's say the address of this new node is 140, and now this head after this assignment will be storing this address. So I will just put this condition first here in my code, that is if head is equal to null pointer, that is if list is empty, then you just need to assign head the address of the new node. So now this loop is completed here. So now what next if head is not equal to null pointer? Let us see that. So this is the case when head is not pointing to null pointer, it is pointing to some element, it is pointing to some node basically. So now what I will do in this case, I will just create another pointer named as tail, which will be pointing to the same position where this head is pointing earlier, that is this first position. So here I am creating a pointer named as tail and the address, and it is pointing to the same address where this head is pointing. So after this tail pointer is created and it will start pointing to this. And now what I will do, I will just check that, as we know that this is the data value part and this is the next node part. So I will just check that is tails next node is equal to null or not. So as you can see that it is not equal to null. So I will just move this to the next part. So now I will just make my tail pointer to come here. So now tail pointer will come here. So now at this point I will again check that is the tail's next node part is equal to null pointer or not. So as you can see that it is not equal to null pointer. So I will again move my tail pointer ahead, and now I will come to this. So now you can check again your condition, that is your next node part of tail is equal to null pointer or not. So you can see that it is equal to null pointer. So now after this we have just got our AND element, after which we need to do the insertion. So once you will find this element, you can just make your next node part of this AND element to point to this new node. So let's say this is the new node, and now once you have find this, you can just do tails next node is equal to new node. So you will just do it once you have find your last node. So how can you just do this? How can you just find this last node by the code? Let me just show you the code for this. So this was the if condition, and in the else condition I will just create first the tail pointer, and now using the while loop I will do it while tail's next node part is not equal to null pointer, we just need to move tail ahead, that is I will do tails next node, and after this you will just find the last element of your linked list. The tail will start pointing to the last element of the linked list after this loop. So now once I have find my last element, I can just do tail next node is equal to new node. So here our function void insert is completed. So I hope that this is clear to you. Let me just explain this loop again. So now as we have seen earlier, we have created our tail pointer using this code line, and it was started pointing to the point where this head was pointing, that is this tail pointer is started pointing to this first element. Now I will just check that. I will just apply my while loop, and until this tail's next node becomes null pointer, I will just move tails to the tail's next node. That is, now here I will check, is this tail's next node is becoming null pointer? No, this is not null pointer. So now this tail will reach to the position tail's next node. So you can see that currently tail is here. This is not equal to null pointer, so this tail will move on to the tail's next node. So this tail's next node is equal to 100. So this tail will move on to the address 100, and at address 100 I have this node. So now here I will again check my while loop condition, that is tail's next node becoming null pointer or not. So now again this is not becoming null pointer, so this tail will move on to the tail's next node. So now you can see that the tail's next node is storing the address 120. So it will reach to the address 120. Now at address 120, now I have my tail, and at address 120 we have this node where the next node is becoming the null pointer. So now this while loop will end here, and my tail will start pointing to this now. Now once my tail will start pointing to this, I can just put the address of this new node in the next node part of this my element, that is my last element of the linked list. So earlier the last element was like 3 null and my tail was here. So by accessing tail next node, by doing tail next node is equal to new node, I have just put the address of new node. Let's say the address of new node is, let's say, 70. So I've just put the address of 70 in the tail's next node. So my tail was here and this is the next node pointer. So here the address 70 will be put and this will start pointing to the new node. So now I hope that this code is clear to you. So now let us move on to our third part. So insertion at some specific position. So let's say this is a linked list that we have and this is the position 1, this is the position 2 and this is the position 3 and this is the position 4. So you need to insert here, let's say, the element 5 at the index 3. So if you want to, let's say you want to insert element 5 at this index 3. So your first step to insert this element at index 3 will be to reach to this node. That is, if you want to insert the element at nth position, then you need to reach n-1th position in the linked list. So reaching to the n-1th position is your first step. So how you will be reaching here, I will tell you after some time, but now let us believe that you have reached to this position. Now once you have reached to this position, you will create a new node whose data value will be 5. Let's say the address of this new node, its name is new node and its address is 70. Now I know that I need to insert this new node at this third position. So now at my second step I have created this new node with the data value 5. Now my third step is to put the address of this node, that is n-1th position node, here because I want to create this link. And to create this particular link, I need to mention the address of this node, which is 120 here. So I want to put the address of this node where I want to create the link here. So this is 120. And how can I put the address 120 here? I can just do it by writing, because I know that this is the data value part and this is the next node pointer of the new node. So I will just do next node pointer, that is this next node pointer of the new node, that is this, is equal to assigning it n-1th node, that is this next node, because I know that this is the data value, this is the next node pointer storing the address 120. So by assigning the next node pointer value of n-1th node to this new node, to this next node pointer of new node, I'm just putting this address 120 here, and with this statement, with this code line, I've just created this link. So now this was my third step. So now fourth step is to break this link and to create this link. Now how can I just do it? to just break this link and create this new link, I just need to put this address 70 at place of 120. Now how can I do it in the code? I can just do it by writing n minus 1 next node pointer is equal to address of new node, which is 70. So from this statement, from this code line, I will be putting the address 70 here at place of 120. So after this, you can see that this is your first node, this is your second node, and this is your third node, and now this is your fourth node, and this is your fifth node. So now you can see that you have inserted this node at the third position. Now there is no this link existing between these two. So this is the linked list that you have now. So from this you have put your new node in the desired position. So now let us see the code for this. So this is a function whose name is insert between, and I am passing the head, the position where I need to insert, and the data which I need to insert, which in my case, in our example was 5. So I am passing these 3 as the parameters to this function and taking them as input from the user. And now how will we proceed? We will first write the for loop to reach the n minus 1th position. So it will start from I and it will go till position -1, and we will just do head is equal to head next node. So it means that, let me just explain you. If at some moment there was a pointer head which was pointing to this node, so this head will move ahead because we have done head next node. We have assigned head next node is equal to head. So now this pointer will move ahead until you will reach the n minus 1th position, and at the end you will find your head pointer here. So after this loop, your head pointer will be pointing to the position -1, that is n minus 1th position. So now this was my for loop, and after this for loop, our next step was to create the new node with the data that the user have provided us. So here with this code line I have created the new node, and now I will be just writing the code that I have just told you during the explanation. So new node next node is equal to, and so now you must note that here this n minus 1th node is head now, because now head is pointing to the n minus 1th node after this loop. So here at place of n minus 1 I will write head now. So it is head next node. Again at place of n minus 1 I will be writing head here. So it is head next node is equal to new node. So all the steps that I have told you here are covered in these code lines. But now you must note one thing. So there is a situation, let's say your linked list is 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a possibility that there is a situation that your linked list only have 4 elements, and you are asked to insert the element at the index at the position 7. So you can note here that you can't insert the element at index 7. You can only insert the element till index 5. That is, you can insert the element at position 1, at position 2, at position 3, at position 4, and after this, that is at position 5. But you can't insert any element here after this, because there is no element. Because if you will be inserting any element at position 7, then there will be no element between this 4 and this 7. So this is not possible to insert any element after index 5 here. So to solve this problem, I will be writing a condition here that if at some position you will find head is equal to null pointer, then it means that the position is out of range, and we will print here for the user the message that is the position is out of range, and we will just return from here because we can't proceed to these steps further if the position is out of range, because we know that this head was pointing towards the n-1th position, and if this head is pointing to null pointer, then it means that there is no n-1th position, so you can't insert any element at nth position because there is no element here. So I hope that this condition is also clear to you now. Now I hope that this is clear to you. So this is a code to insert any new node at some specific position provided by the user. So in this case, node after which insertion is to be done is given to you. That means if the user want to insert any new node after this particular node, let's say, then the user will be storing the address of this particular node, which is 100, by himself, and the user will be providing this address to you, and then he will ask you to insert the node after this. So let's say there is a pointer previous node which stores this address 100, and this previous node pointer is provided to you, and the data, let's say 5, is provided to you. So now you need to create a node with the data value 5, and you need to insert this node after the node whose address is previous node, which in this example 100. So in this function whose name is insert after, we will be performing this task. So the parameters, the input to this function will be the previous node and the data that need to be inserted after this. So first we will be checking that if previous node is equal to null pointer, and if it is equal to null pointer, then it means that there is no any node with the name previous node. So it means that we are provided with the invalid previous node and we can't insert it. We can't insert any element here, so we will return from here. And if this condition is false, then what we will do is we will just create the new node with the given data, and what I will just do is I will just create the link. Let me just show you. I will just create the link of this 5 with this, and I will just block this link and create the link here. So what I'm just doing is, this is our new node and this is the next node pointer of new node. So next node pointer of new node, I am assigning the address which is stored in the next node pointer of the previous node, which is 120. So now with this code line, again I have created this link. Now I will be breaking this link and creating this link. So how can we do it? So this can be done with the code line previous node next node is equal to address of new node. So with this code line here at place of 120, I have stored the address of this new node. If this is 70, then 70 will be stored here at place of 120. So now I hope that this is also clear to you. So now let us move on to the Visual Studio Code to see their working, to see the working of all these codes. Here I have written the code for the insert B function, and here I have written the code for the insert E function, and this is a code for insert between function. So I have added the code for these three functions in the code of the previous session where we have learned the traversal and creation of linked list with the code. So this is the code for traversal of linked list, and using this code I've also created the linked list. If you have any doubt that how I have created the linked list using this code and how I am traversing through the linked list, then you must watch my previous session on creation and traversal of linked list. So with that code I have created this linked list which is 5, 8, 50 and 60. So now we will see the working of insert B function, insert E function, and this insert between function. So as I have told you, this is a linked list that I have created using this code of creation and traversal of linked list. And now in this linked list, which is 5, 80, 50 and 60, I am applying the insert B function. I am calling the insert B function and I am inserting 100 at the beginning of this linked list. And after inserting 100 at the beginning, I have called the insert E function, and with this function I am inserting this value which is 999,999 at the end of the linked list. After this I have called the insert between function, and with the help of this function I am inserting the value 55 at the third position of the linked list. So now let me just run this code and let me just show you the output. So you can see the linked list before any insertion is 5, 8, 50 and 60, and the linked list after inserting 100 at the beginning is 100, 5, 8, 50 and 60. So you can see that 100 is inserted at the beginning of the linked list, and this is done with the help of this insert B function. So this insert B function is working properly, as you can see here. So now after this we have called the insert E function, which was inserting 999 at the end of the linked list. So at this step the linked list was this, and now after inserting 999 which is 999 after the end of linked list, the linked list that I have got is 100, 5, 8, 50, 60 and 999. So you can see that 999 is inserted at the end of this linked list with the help of insert E function. So this function is also working properly. Now after that the next call that we have made was this insert between, which need to insert 55 at the third position. So you can see that this is a linked list after inserting 55 at the third position. So you can see that here this 55 is inserted at the third position. So this code is also working properly. So now I hope that this is clear to you, and now you can change the inputs here and can get the required output. I am providing you this code in the description box. So before ending this session, let me just show you the code for the insert after function, the working of this code. We have already discussed this code in the explanation. So now let us see the working of this code. So now here I have created the linked list, and I have also told you in the previous session that while creating the linked list you can provide different pointer variable names to the different nodes, and here to the second node I have given the name second. So you must note that this second is the pointer which is pointing to the second node of this linked list, which is 8. So now I have called the insert after function, which will be inserting 100 after the second. Now we know that this second is pointing to second node, which is 8. So now after this call, 100 will be inserted after it. So now let us see the working of this function. So here you can see that the linked list before any insertion was this, and the linked list after inserting 100 after second is this. So you can see that here 100 is inserted after it. So now I hope that the working of this insert after function is also clear to you. So now we will end our session here, and in the next session we will be discussing the deletion in the linked list, and after that we will be working with some important problems for your interviews related to the linked list.